So let's do this exercise together now, and let's create the, let's do the updating bar charts the old way. So we will start by creating so for this one, I passed in the SVG element, so let's select that. And we're going to select all of the rectangles in that SVG, and then we're going to bind our new data. And for the key function, again, we'll pass in, we'll just use the datum itself. So we have our rectangles with our data bound. And now let's exit any of the extraneous rectangle elements that are no longer in the new data array. So we're gonna take our rectangle selection, and we're gonna get the exit selection, and we're going to remove that from the DOM. Then we're gonna get our enter. So we're gonna say enter.append. And we want to append a rectangle like here. And for the enter, we're going to set some of the attributes that do not depend on data. So that would be width. We're going to use rectangle width. I believe I also do a fill. I think I do a pink fill, and I do, I believe, a stroke. And I think I use plum, and I think I used stroke width, and I think I set the stroke width to 2. So that's our enter selection, and let's go ahead and save our enter selection in this variable enter. And finally, let's do let's merge our enter and update selection together. So we're going to do enter.merge rectangle, and we're going to do now the attributes that depend on our data. So that was our X position, because our X position, we've gone back to using the simpler way before the scales. So we're going to just say what our index is, multiplied by our rectangle width as our X position. And for our Y position, we're going to use, for this example, hard-coded the height of the container to be 100. So we're just going to do 100 minus our data. And finally, we're going to set the height of our bars to be the bound data itself. So here is our data binding, our exit, enter, and enter update. And I received a question in a previous workshop a long time ago about if the order of all of these matter. And I remember that the conclusion we arrived to is that in this old way, the order does matter, and it's that it's quite important for us to remove everything first, and then we want to be able to create all of our new elements so that those new elements can be merged together with the existing elements. So it's a very specific order. And I think the note about whether the exit needs to come first, I believe that was because there was an edge case of, I think if you had nested selections or nested elements, then I think this order starts to matter. So I now just kind of default to this order, and I just think of it as like a personal best practice. So now that we've done that, let's go down here and see if it's working. So if we click new data, there we go. So it is drawing the new data every time we click on the button. So it is working as we expect. let's recreate our simple bar chart with the new way with the join. So let's start with selecting the SVG again and dot select all rectangles and binding that data in the same way with the same key function of the datum. This time around, exciting part is to do just the dot join for the rectangles. And this should now create all of the rectangle elements we need. Nothing will show up in our SVG yet, but if we inspect it, we should be able to see it in the DOM. So let's take a look. And the new way, indeed, we have all of the rectangle elements. And then if we do a console dot and take a look at the rectangles, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and we see that we have the data being bound. And so this dot join, this one line, replaced all of the lines of enter and update and exit in the old way. And so now we can go ahead, and because that join is giving us now all of these rectangles with all of these data bound, let's go ahead and set all of the attributes that we did before. And so just so you don't have to sit through it, I'm going to copy and paste it. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste all of the dynamic attributes. And then I'm going to go ahead and go back up and copy all of the static attributes. And with this, I just have this one block, and that should take care of all of our enter, update, exit. So let's take a look. And there we go. It's both creating the exact same things, but the new way with join is just so much more convenient and much less verbose than the old way with our enter, update, exit. So this is what it looks like. But you might be like, after all of this work that we did, you know, with like these different ways, you might be feeling a little bit dissatisfied, or at least I'm feeling a little bit dissatisfied, because as we can see here, you know, every time we update, sure, they both work, but like this looks like the same effect as if we had just, you know, completely emptied out our SVG on every update. So like if we, every time we got new data, like if we chucked out all of the SVG elements and we just like redrew everything from scratch, this looks exactly the same as that. So why are we going through all of this trouble? And the answer is this whole enter, update, exit pattern, or this join, whichever way you decide to use, this is extremely powerful and really nice when we combine it with D3 transitions, if we combine it with some animations.